Today we're going to be talking about Dale Carnegie training. This is a very, very famous training system in America and all over the world. And we're going to be listening to many different stories. We have 6 main points, 6 key points today, and we're going to listen to 6 stories to learn these key points. Okay? And let me give you some information, first of all, on Dale Carnegie. This is Dale Carnegie. He was born in 1888, maybe a long time ago. And he was born in Maryville, Missouri. This is right in the middle of the United States, Maryville, Missouri. Maryville is a very small town, In 2010, the population was 11,972. In 1950, the population was 6,834. Probably, maybe in 1888, around 2,000 people. Very, very small town in the middle of America. Okay? And of course, in that area, there are a lot of farms, many farms in this area. So he grew up on a farm, growing vegetables and such. He went to university, and he graduated from the University of Central Missouri in 1910. And after he graduated from university, he became a salesman. And he was a salesman selling bacon and soap as a salesman. He was a very good salesman. He was very popular. He made a lot of money. But his dream was not to be a salesman. His dream was to be an actor. He wanted to be an actor in New York. So after 1 year of being a salesman, he saved his money. He saved $500, and he went to New York to be an actor. Of course, being an actor is very difficult. It's very hard to make money. I don't know if he was a good actor or a bad actor. I don't know. But after 1 year, his money was gone. He had no more money. He was sleeping in a YMCA, a very cheap place sleeping. He had no money. And he decided, I need to change my job. I need to change my job. So here's a question for you, which is this. What are you afraid of? For example, some people are afraid of snakes. Snakes are very scary, right? Some people are afraid of very high places. So how about you? What are you afraid of? Anyone? But they asked this question for Americans. They asked Americans, this was 1973, but they asked this question, what are you afraid of? There are many different answers, right? The number one answer, 40.6%. 40% of the people said speaking in front of other people. In this room, we have many teachers. We love talking and such, so maybe we are not afraid of speaking. But many people, they're very shy. They don't like to speak in front of other people. Also afraid of heights, very tall places. Insects, bugs, means mushy, for example. Financial problems means money problems, if you're worried about money problems. Deep water, like the ocean, going out into the ocean is very scary. Becoming sick, dying, flying in an airplane, loneliness, if you're afraid of loneliness, okay? Dogs, driving a car, dark, some people are scared of the dark. Elevators and escalators, I don't know why. Elevators I understand, escalators I don't, but these are things people are afraid of, right? And this is important because the percentage of people who are afraid of dying is 18%. Afraid of speaking in front of other people, 40%. So people are more scared of speaking in front of other people than dying, right? Very surprising. So this is something that Dale Carnegie understood, and he decided to start teaching. He started teaching public speaking in 1912. So he decided to design a course and teach public speaking. Actually, he was very successful, very, very successful. He started in 1912. 2 years later, by 1914, at age 26, he was making $500 a week. $500, about gomanen, or 5 fukuzawas, right? So about 5 fukuzawas a week in 1914, right? In 1914, that's a lot of money. Today, $500 a week would be $11,700 a week. In yen, it would be 1,170,000 yen per week. He was making a lot of money, more than 1,000,000 yen a week by teaching public speaking. 65.5 million yen per year. He made a lot of money because many people wanted to learn about public speaking and being confident and being good at business. He created this program. It was very successful. After many, many years, in 1936, he wrote a book. He wrote this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So to have good communication, good interaction with other people. It was a very popular book. It sold over 15 million copies worldwide. Also, he wrote many other books. Most of these books are about speaking, being a leader, being successful. So he wrote a lot of books. These books have sold more than 50 million copies all over the world in 38 different languages, including many books in Japanese as well. So he created the Dale Carnegie Training. They just had the 100-year anniversary in 2012. So now they've been going for 102 years. Also, Dale Carnegie really, really loved Japan. He really loved Japan. They have over 3,000 instructors in 86 countries. But when he decided to open up schools in other countries, one of his first schools was here in Japan. So he loved Japan. He visited in 1932 for the first time. In 1939, he came twice, once in July. He came back again in September. He went to Osaka, Kyoto, all over Japan. He really loved Japan. He came here again in 1953 as well. So when he opened up his Dale Carnegie teaching programs overseas, one of the first ones was in Japan since 1963. So last year was their 50-year anniversary in Japan. So here's a question for you. If you want to do business with someone, who would you like to do business with? We have the left picture and the right picture. You want to do business with someone, left or right? Who do you want to do business with? Both businesses are the same. The price is the same. The product is the same. You have two choices. You can do business with these people or business with him. How many people choose the right picture? Right picture. How many choose the left picture? Everybody, right? So everybody likes the left picture. Why? Smiling, yeah. They're smiling, right? Right? Maybe friendly. They're smiling and friendly. So, we like friendly people, right? If you have a choice to do business, friendly, not friendly, you will choose friendly, right? So being friendly in business is very, very important. And from the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, okay, we're going to learn these points. How to become a friendlier person. Now, all of you are friendly, so don't panic, don't worry. But this is how to be even more friendly, how to be a friendly person, and that can help you in business, right? There are 6 key points that we will learn today. The first one is a little bit long, so the first one's long, but don't panic. The other ones are a little shorter. I'd like to start today with the very first point, the first key point to being a friendlier person. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. So criticize is if you say, what you did was bad. That was bad. You should not do that, is to criticize. Condemn, you are a bad person. You are bad, right? Or complain. I don't like this. I don't like that. That's to complain. All of these are very, very negative. So the first lesson to be a friendlier person is to not be negative. Don't be negative. I'm going to tell you a story, a little bit of a long story, but of course everybody knows the Meiji Restoration, Meiji Ishin in Japanese, right? The Meiji Restoration was from 1868 to 1912 here in Japan. At the same time in America, a couple of years sooner in America was the US Civil War. It's a terrible, terrible war in America. It was the worst war in American history. More Americans died in this war than every other war combined. It was a terrible war. It went from 1861 to 1865. The reason for the war, okay, and in this case here, over 1 million people were killed or wounded. Maybe they lost an arm, they lost a leg. More than 1 million people were killed or wounded. And at that time, that was 8%. 8% of Americans were killed or wounded in this war. It was a terrible, terrible war. The reason for the war was what we call slavery, or dore, for example. So slavery, there were many Africans were brought to America, and they would work picking cotton and growing cotton in the South mainly. And in the South, in these southern states here, all of them had slavery. Slavery was very important to them. In the North, they did not like slavery. They said slavery is bad, right? So they were arguing about slavery. The West, these were Western territories. They were not states, but there was a big debate. So slavery in the North is not okay. Slavery in the South is okay. But Western territories, okay, not okay, which one? So there's a big debate. President Lincoln became president in 1860, and he said no slaves in the West. The southern states were very angry, and they left. They said, we are leaving America, we are going to have our own country, we are a separate country, and then this resulted in a very big war that lasted for 4 years. Actually, the North was very rich. They had a lot of money, they had all of the factories, they had a lot of military, a lot of men. They were very strong and very rich. The South was very poor. So the North, they thought the war would last about 1 day. They thought, okay, 1 day, 1 battle, the war is over. But in the South, they had a very good general, General Lee. He was very, very clever, very smart. Because he was very smart, the war lasted for a long, long, long time. In 1863, in a place here in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is just north of Washington, D.C. This is Washington, D.C. North of Pennsylvania, there was a big, big battle, a very important battle that was called the Battle of Gettysburg. There were two sides, the North and the South. In the North, this is General Meade. General Meade had 93,921 men. In the South, General Lee had 71,699 men. General Lee had never lost. He had never lost a battle. He was the best general in the war. No northern general could beat General Lee. But he made a mistake. He made a mistake in this battle, and for the very first time, he lost. General Lee lost. During the battle, which went from July 1st to July 3rd, 1863, both sides lost about 23,000 men. So now the North has 70,000, the South has 48,000. But please remember, this battle was in the North. So the North received extra men. More men came to the North, and the South had no extra men. So more men came to the north. Now there's almost 111,000 for the north and only 48,000 for the south. It's a big, big problem for General Lee. General Lee is very smart, and he decides it's time to leave. He goes back to the south. But he had a problem. This is the Potomac River. Very famous Potomac River right next to Washington, D.C. here. Here's the Potomac River. Usually a very peaceful, very beautiful river. At this time, it had rained for many, 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 many days. The river was flooded. There's lots of water everywhere. General Lee could not cross the river. He was trapped. So he was trapped. He could not go back to the south. President Lincoln told his general, General Meade, he said, "You must attack now. If you attack now, the war is over. The war is over. Attack now, the war is over. You have many more men. You're much stronger. You must attack now. Don't wait. Don't talk about it. Attack now." But General Meade did not attack. General Meade waited. He talked about it. He waited. He did not attack. President Lincoln sent a message every day, attack now. Every day, attack now. And he didn't. The water level of the river went down, and General Lee left. And the war continued for another 2 years, and many, many, many people died. President Lincoln was very, very, very angry at General Meade. So he wrote a letter. He wrote a letter to General Meade. And basically this letter said, "You made a big mistake. Because of your mistake, this war will continue for many more years, and many, many people will die. If you had attacked, then the war is over. You did not. The war will be prolonged indefinitely for a long time." So here's my question for you. If you are General Meade, you're General Meade, what was Meade's reaction? Lincoln wrote a letter, said, "You made a big mistake. This is your fault. The war will continue because of you." So what was Meade's reaction? What do you think?
Not happy.
Not happy, right? Yeah, not happy. Well, here's the answer. What was Meade's reaction? There was no reaction because Lincoln did not send the letter. He wrote the letter, "I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you." He wrote the letter, but he did not send the letter. And the reason he did not send the letter is if he sends the letter, he will feel happy. Okay, I hate you, I'm happy, right? But if he writes the letter and sends the letter, then General Meade will be very angry. He'll be very angry. Probably he will argue, he will fight, he will explain his position. Maybe he'll be so angry he will quit. Maybe he will quit and not be a general anymore. If he quits, he cannot lead the army anymore. Remember, General Meade was the first general to beat General Lee. He's a very, very good general. So Lincoln thought about it. He was angry. He wanted to say strong things, but he didn't. He waited, right? As a result, Meade continued with the army. He was a very good general, and he became a hero in America. Actually, there are many, many statues of General Meade in America. Many people know General Meade. There's a city named Fort Meade. This is named after General Meade, right? There's a ship called the USS Meade. This is an army military base called the Fort Meade. It's a very, very big fort named after him. There's a high school, Meade High School. It's very, very famous. I think most of us like money, right? This is American money here. Probably you know Lincoln is on the $5 bill. This is General Grant. He was another general for the North from the war. But actually what you don't know is this. This is a $1,000, and this is General Meade. Now we don't use a $1,000 bill, but in the past we did. There was a $1,000 bill, and actually General Meade was on the bill. So the main point here is Lincoln, it would be very easy to write the letter saying, I hate you, you're a bad person, rah, 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 rah. It's very easy to do that, but he didn't. He waited and he thought about it and decided to be more positive. And this is the business application. This is how we can use this here in our company, is to focus on a positive result. Don't think about yelling and fighting, but think about a good, positive result in the future. Also, think about other people. If you yell and if you fight, how will they feel? Of course, they'll be very angry, and it's not good. So this is point number 1 this week, which is focus on positive things. The second point today is to please give honest, sincere appreciation, meaning saying thank you. So say thank you to other people, be very honest and be very friendly saying thank you. I want to tell you a story about this man. His name is Charles Schwab. He was born in February 18th, 1862. Actually, this is during the war. He was born during the war. He was an engineer, and he became the president of the U.S. Steel Company in 1921. He became the president of this company at age 38. In 1921, there was no income tax, So a rich person in 1921 had a salary of 2,600 dollars per year. If your salary is $2,600 per year, you are rich, you have a very good life. His salary was $1 million a year at that time. His salary was very, 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 very big. That's $23.4 million today. In yen, 2,340,000,000 yen per year. This was his salary. It's about the same as your salary. Okay. A huge salary. He was a very rich man. This is his house in Manhattan, which is a very expensive place in America, Manhattan. This is his summer house. His summer house has 44 rooms, a golf course. He was a very, very, very rich man. So the question is why? Why was he rich? And the reason why he was rich is his secret to success. He was very friendly. He was very good working with people. His company is a steel company. He does not know a lot about steel. He is not an expert about steel, but he is an expert about people. He's very good talking with people, working with people. And his secret, he said, is interpersonal skills. Because he worked very well with other people, then he had a very high salary. It's an important skill to work well with other people. So he liked to give enthusiasm to all of the workers. He'd make them very genki, very enthusiastic, be very friendly. And he would do that by showing appreciation. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for helping me on this project. Thank you for doing this. By showing appreciation and also encouraging them. Ganbatte, ganbare, right? So try hard, work hard. So by being very good talking with other people, then he had a very successful life. That was his one skill, is working with people. The way we can use that is we can practice thanking each other. We have coworkers, saying thank you to your coworkers every day. Maybe every day you can think of one thing somebody helped you. So thank you for helping me at the meeting. Thank you for doing this. So being very friendly with your coworkers will create a very friendly environment. Number 3, become genuinely interested in the other person. So many people think about me, but if you find out more information about other people, it's very good. Very cute dog, right? Okay. Everybody loves dogs. Everybody loves dogs. Basically, dogs, everybody loves dogs because they're friendly, right? When you come home, the dog runs up to you, is very happy to see you. The dog is always happy to see you, always smiling, always very friendly. And that's why people love dogs, right? It's because they're always friendly. They care about you. This is a long quote. Don't panic. But here's the full quote in English. You can make more friends. If you want to have many friends, if you want to make friends, you can make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get the other people interested in you. It's very long, but let's take a look at this. You can make more friends by becoming interested in other people. If you ask other people about themselves, if you ask about them, you'll have many, many friends. You can make more friends in 2 months by being friendly and asking about them than you can in 2 years by getting other people to like you. If you talk about me, people don't care. If you ask them about them, they're very happy. Here is an example. This man's name is Howard Thurston. He was a magician. Actually, he was the world's most famous magician. He was very famous. He traveled all over the world for 40 years. For 40 years, more than 60 million people saw his shows. Over 60 million people saw his shows. He was the most popular magician. And Dale Carnegie met him and asked him, why? Why are you so successful? Why are you the #1 magician in the world? And he said, the secret is this. Other magicians, when they go to a show, maybe they think, oh, okay, I am smarter than these people. I will trick these people. They are not smart. They will not understand my magic tricks. But he did not think that. For him, he would always think, before every show, he would say, I love my audience. I love my audience. They came here to see my show. I will give them a great show and they will be happy. This was his thinking. For teachers, we're the same way. If you think, I love my students, I want to help my students, then your classes will be very popular. Your coworkers will like you very much too. So he always started each show saying, I love my audience, I love my audience. The business application for us is find out 2 things about every coworker and customer you see. So try to learn things about your coworkers, right? So maybe you have a new coworker, asking them about family or hobbies or where they live. Find out about your coworkers, ask them questions, become interested in them, and then you're very friendly and you'll have many friends. Number 4, smiling. Of course, smiling is very important. In Japan, when you talk on a telephone, many times Japanese people talking on the phone, you bow when you talk on the phone and such. The first time I saw that, I was laughing because, of course, the person cannot see you, but you're bowing on the phone. I thought it was very, very funny. But it's a good thing because you are bowing. The person can feel your respect and your sincerity. The same is true with a smile. In this case here, in America, we train people when you're talking on the phone, smile. So, if you're, hi, how are you today? If you're smiling when you are talking, then they will feel the smile. They will feel that you are much friendlier. Another example here, a cute little baby. All of us, we work hard. We're very tired, right? Some of you are smiling just looking at this picture, which is great, right? I know myself, even if I get on a train, there are many people on the train. It's very, very crowded and I'm tired. And sometimes I see a baby, I smile. I smile immediately. People, when they see a smiling baby, they feel good and they smile. Here's a man, his name is Jim Fisher. He has a nice smile, right? Jim Fisher, nice smile. It's very good. Let me tell you a story about this person here. Really, the story is about Robert Cryer, who was a recruiter for a company, right? So we have Robert Cryer. He worked for a small company here, at his company, they needed a PhD graduate, so a doctor course, right? A doctor course. And he found there was a graduate. He just graduated from Purdue University, very famous, very good university in America. He graduated from Purdue University with a PhD, doctor course, very smart man. And this company wanted to hire him. They interviewed him, they talked to him. But actually, there were many companies that wanted to hire him. He could work for any of these companies. And some of these companies are very big companies, very famous companies. Maybe the salary is higher. But he did not work for those companies. He chose to work for this small company. He chose this company. So Robert Cryer asked him, why? Why did you join this company? And he mentioned, we talked on the phone many times, and you were always very friendly. When we would talk, you were happy to talk to me and very friendly. The other companies were not friendly. It's very short and cold and business only. But because you were very friendly, I thought this would be a good company to work for. So this shows how being friendly can be very good. The Chinese have a kotowaza, they have an expression, a man without a smiling face must not open a shop. If you want to do business, you need to smile. If you can't smile, don't do business, is what this means. The business application for us, please smile when you greet people. Every customer who comes in, every person that you meet, smile. And maybe in your mind, you can imagine like you see your best friend. Your very best friend walks in the door. You have not seen your best friend for a long time. They walk in the door. Of course, you're very happy to see them. If we think this way, when we see our students, when we see our coworkers, if we're happy to see them, then it'll be very friendly and a very good environment. Point number 5, very long point, number 5. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. This is long. Let me give you the short version, which is people like to hear their names. People like to hear their names, right? If somebody comes in and you say, oh, hi, Ms. Tanaka, how are you today? Or Ms. Nakamura was my first student today, right? So Ms. Nakamura comes in, I say, oh, Ms. Nakamura, how are you today? If you use names, people are happy. People like to hear their name. So it's important to remember names and use names. This is James Farley. James Farley was very good at using names. He knew the names of 50,000 people. If he saw them, he would remember their names. He was very good. He was a politician, so he wanted to work for the government, right? Actually, he ran for president. He wanted to be president of the United States. He was very close. In 1940 and 1944, he wanted to be president of the United States. He did not get that, but he was the U.S. Postmaster General. So the U.S. Post Office, he was the #1 person. He was the leader of all the U.S. Post Office. He was also the chairman of the board for Coca-Cola. He was the leader of Coca-Cola from 1940 to 1973. Very long time he was the leader of Coca-Cola. And his specialty was remembering names. I showed you this picture a few minutes ago. What's his name? Does anyone remember what his name is? Jim, good, Jim Fisher, good job, good teamwork here. Jim Fisher, excellent, right? But sometimes it's easy to forget names. I want to teach you a trick. I want to teach you a technique for remembering names. This technique is from James Farley. This was his technique. James Farley, what he would do to remember names is when he would meet somebody for the first time, he would ask their full name. Okay, James Edgar Smith. He would ask their first name, their family name. He would ask their name. He would ask about their family, if they're married, do they have children, what about your work? What is your job? He would get information. He would ask about politics, political opinion, because he's a politician. He cared about that. So he would get lots of information. And he would form an image. He would form an image in his mind about this person. For example, this is Jim Fisher. He likes pizza. Okay? So Jim Fisher, he likes pizza. If you want to remember his name, you need to create an image to match the face with an image. For example, Jim sounds like Jim. If you go to the gym to exercise, right? So Jim, if you imagine him at the gym, he's exercising. See his face at the gym exercising. His last name is Fisher. Jim Fisher sounds like Fisher, fisherman, right? So maybe he loves fishing. So you have an image of him at the gym, thinking about fishing. And we know he loves pizza. Maybe he's eating pizza at the gym. I looked on Google. I could not find a picture of somebody at the gym eating pizza. There's no picture like that. But have this image of your mind. Jim at the gym, thinking about fishing, eating pizza. And then the next time you see him, you're like, oh yeah, Jim Fisher, he likes pizza. It's very, very easy to remember, right? So this is a nice fish, right? Does this look like a nice fish? Actually, that's my fish. My last trip to America, I did some fishing. This is in English, it's called a grouper. In Japanese, you call it a hata. Right? So this is the fish here. This is my hometown. I don't live in the water, but it's near my hometown. But in Florida, doing some fishing. Actually, it makes a delicious sandwich, by the way. If you like this is the most delicious sandwich I've ever had. It's a grouper sandwich. Thank you very much. Okay. This is Andrew Carnegie. He was one of the richest Americans ever, a very, very, very rich man. He was a billionaire. Now in America there are many, many billionaires. He was a billionaire when there were maybe 5. He was one of the 5 richest men in America. He created Carnegie Steel Company in 1870. He sold it in 1901 for $480 million. That equals $13.5 billion in today's money. He was very rich. And he was really good about understanding names are important. Names are very important. He created the U.S. Steel Company. He's famous for Carnegie Hall. Maybe you know Carnegie Hall. Japan bought Carnegie Hall. Carnegie Mellon University in America, also very famous, very rich man. He started a steel factory. He built a new steel factory in America in 1872. When he gave a name to the steel factory, he did not call it the Andrew Carnegie Steel Factory. He did not use his name. It was not the Andrew Carnegie Steel Factory. He called it the Edgar Thomson Steel Factory. Edgar Thomson Steel Factory. So who is Edgar Thomson? Edgar Thomson was the president of the Pennsylvania Railroad. A railroad wants to buy steel to build railroad tracks. So Carnegie wanted to sell this steel to this man. So he named this factory after this man. He called this factory the Edgar Thomson Steel Factory. And of course, when Edgar Thomson wanted to buy steel, he always bought it from the Edgar Thomson Steel Factory. And it made a lot of money for Carnegie. Carnegie understood using people's names is very, very important. One more story about Andrew Carnegie. This is George Pullman. He also was involved in railroads. One of Carnegie's companies was Central Transportation Company, and this was the Pullman Company. Both of these companies were making this kind of railroad car. It's called a sleeper car, so people can sleep at night when traveling on the train. Both of these people, they wanted to sell it to the Union Pacific Railroad. They wanted to sell this. But they were fighting against each other. They were lowering the price, competing, lowering the price each time. And so finally, Andrew Carnegie, he thought, this is no good. This is very bad. We're lowering the price, we're losing money, this is no good. We need to work together. Let's work together, we'll make one company and we'll work together. So George Pullman said, okay, if we do that, what would be the name of the company? What's the name of the company? He said, well, of course, the name of the company would be the Pullman Palace Car Company. And then, of course, Pullman agreed. They became partners and they made a lot of money. Again, because Carnegie understood using names is very important. So for us, our business application, use names as much as possible. Use people's names. Ask them about their names. And try to, again, attach an image, right? Remember Jim Fisher. Picture an image to remember them so you can use their names. Last one today, last point, is talk in terms of the other person's interest. Do not talk about what you are interested in. Talk about what the other person is interested in. Dale Carnegie loved fishing. Dale Carnegie loved fishing. And his favorite food was strawberries and cream. He loved strawberries and cream. But when he went fishing, he did not put strawberries on the fishing hook. He loves strawberries, but fish don't love strawberries. So when he's thinking about the other person, when he's thinking about the fish, he would put a worm on the hook because he wants the fish to be interested. So he thinks about what does the fish want. For example, here's a story about Mr. Walters. Mr. Walters was a businessman. And Mr. Walters needed to get some information about a company. There was one man who had this information. One man. So Mr. Walters interviewed the man. He interviewed the man and he tried to ask questions about the company. But the businessman did not give the answers. It was a very short interview. He did not get any answers. He could not get the information that he needed. But during that interview, the secretary came into the office and said, I do not have any stamps. I do not have any stamps for you today. And the businessman explained, I have a 12-year-old son. I have a 12-year-old son. He loves stamps. He loves collecting stamps. And so I tried to give him stamps. Mr. Walters, in his company, there was an international section, and they received letters from all over the world. And because of that, he went to his company and he received many stamps, many international stamps. He called the businessman again. He said, listen, I have some stamps for your son. I have many stamps for your son. Of course, the businessman was very happy. Please come in, please come in. They talked about stamps for 30 minutes, talking about stamps. And then the businessman helped Mr. Walters. He gave Mr. Walters all of the information he needed, told him all about the company. He had other managers come in and talk about the company and helped him very much because Mr. Walters thought about the other person, not about himself. So the business application for number 6, please talk about what they want and how we can help them get it. Okay, for us at our schools, our customers, they want their children to have a very good education, right? So when we talk to the customers about their children and their education and how we can help them, it's very helpful for them. We don't talk about us, our schedule is this, we do this. It's not important. Talk about the customers and what's important to them and how we can help them. Today we listened to 6 stories here of these people here. We learned 6 main points. Number 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Give honest, sincere appreciation. Become genuinely interested in the other person. Smile. Remember that a person's name is important, and talk in terms of the other person's interests.